Welcome to this lesson on the basics of FRED and how to navigate and search for information. FRED stands for Fundraising Event Database and is your access to March for Babies information, especially about companies, teams, and people. Data from FRED flows immediately into the online fundraising tool, best known as OFT, and also into CRM, which is the Constituent Relationship Management System for the March of Dimes. In this lesson, let's look at some of the fundamentals of navigating in FRED. Once you log into FRED, you'll be on the home page as seen here. At the top of the screen, you'll see your name and the campaign year that you are currently working in. A campaign year is essentially a given year, such as March for Babies 2015. Note that there is a drop-down box right here. FRED houses March for Babies data back to the campaign year of 2002. You can see where we had two campaigns within each year, spring and fall, called Walk America. You can also see when we move to the rebranded campaign called March for Babies. An important tip, FRED's can remember and stay in the last campaign you were working in before you logged off. So if I'd been working in perhaps entering a March for Babies chair in the year 2016, he's going to be in 2016 when I log back in. So just double check the campaign year that you're working in just to make sure that you're getting the right data and entering data in the right place. Also, look at the left side of FRED's home screen. Here you can access other information about using FRED. Next, let's look at the tabs. These are the tabs on the home screen in FRED, where you do your work. As I scroll through them, some of them have a drop-down box and some do not. If more than one type of lookup is an option for these tabs, it'll show. It'll have the drop-down. Where there's no drop-down, it is just basically the tab where you'll be doing your work. The Campaigns tab is used to add national campaigns and look up information about a campaign. Campaigns are entered into FRED by the national office, so you don't need to focus on this tab. You use the Events tab primarily to look up events and activate events. Most staff will use the Lookup event to see event information and add or update event information. In the event screen itself, you can create an event vanity URL, which is a nice feature. When you publicize your event, this allows people to identify with a specific event locale with information that relates to them, as seen here. The Teams tab has both a team lookup and a CSO lookup, CSO standing for company, school, and organization. Within each of these tabs, you can edit and update details and goal information either individually or through a team grid. You can also add new teams and merge teams. We'll learn about these in detail in another lesson. Use the People tab to look up people, add new people, and add or edit the roles of people. The Receipts tab is used to work with deposits and specific March for Babies receipt entry. You have to be in a specific assigned staff role to use this tab. The Reports tab, which is everyone's favorite, is used to generate and view reports based on each of the categories within FRED. Use the Communications tab to define a specific group of participants and send them emails or prepare labels for mailing. And finally, the last tab is Planning, an important area with much detail ready for you to create plans with data for your next campaign. Let's explore some basic lookup. Remember, lookup is tied to the campaign year you're logged into on the top. Here we're in 2015. Click on the Teams menu and look up Teams. Here we are in the basic team lookup screen. Navigating and searching in FRED is all about narrowing down or filtering the potential number of searched results. FRED is a universal database with over 75,000 CSOs, remember that stands for company, school, or organization, and over 250,000 teams and thousands of people. You really need to drill down and find those that you manage. Using the variety of filtering options, you can zero in on the results you need. We're going to practice some search. I'm going to find some teams that are named farmers. I know there are a large amount of these teams across the country, so I really want to narrow it down by using the search filters as seen here. These are all various ways that you can filter. Right now I'm in the basic search, which allows me to start filtering with some minimal criteria. I want to look for teams that are farmers insurance. Here I'm going to enter the name farmer in the team name box. Right next to the name box is a drop-down that has three options, as you'll see: begins, contains, and exact. Since I don't really know for sure if there's an apostrophe between the R and the S in farmers, I'm simply going to say begins since I know that for sure. A key search concept is less entered gives you more results. If I said contains, I'd be getting a list of results that have all the teams with the letters farmer in them. If I said exact and use the apostrophe, I may get nothing if I've entered the team name incorrectly. I could also choose to filter based on the event location, the division, whether the team is active, and so on. But we'll dive into these in another lesson. When I click Search, Fred gave me results based on the above criteria that I asked. Note that Farmers does not have the apostrophe in it, so it's best to say begins. Once we've done this pre-filtering, there are still other ways to do filtering. Let's say that you really wanted to also find the results for Farmers Insurance based on event location. Note that I can go down here and do a drop-down box and click, actually maybe I just wanted to be from the Denver event location, so I can continue to filter even after I've done some pre-filtering. Also, take a look at the number of results this search provided, which is listed here. This can become important to you as you're aware of your team volume. This search gave us a small amount of teams, but perhaps you feel certain that it should be larger. So this tells you to do a little review of your search criteria to make sure all your teams are there. We could also use the advanced search option, which opens up a larger screen with more filter options, such as dollars raised or perhaps the mission question, as you can see here. So perhaps maybe you wanted to look at in a particular event location, and here we can just pick a small event location, and maybe you wanted to look for teams that have raised a certain amount of dollars or more. So let's say we're looking for teams in the Boulder event location that raised more than $1,000. So it's just essentially narrowing down and having more filters, taking a look at what you can find from there. So I think when you're looking at doing search in Fred, ask yourself the question of what it is that you're really trying to find when all is said and done, and then searching based on that. So here in the Boulder event location, I asked for teams that have raised more than $1,000 and came up with 16 results. Another tip of navigation in Fred. If I were to click on any one of these teams to get to the individual record to do some work with it, and then desire to go back to my earlier lookup, I should follow what we call the breadcrumb trail. An important thing to note in Fred is that, similar to what you're used to doing when you're doing internet searches, the back arrow, the back button, does not work and function in Fred. So what we use is known as the breadcrumb trail. Notice when I put my cursor and I move my cursor along this listing, as soon as it turns into that pointy finger, that is in essence the back button in Fred, and it will take you back to where you were. So we've reviewed the very basics of Fred navigation and search. Tip sheets and PowerPoints are also available on Dimension for any of Fred functions. Thanks.